Hi everyone, my name is Naina and today's video I'll be stitching together the crochet toy sherma from Hollow Knight Silksong. And while I work, I also be talking about real beetles that produce sound, and we'll try to figure out what kind of insect sherma could be in real life. Originally, I planned to make a full tutorial for this character, but honestly my first attempt just didn't look right. It came out very different from original, and the second version turned out much better, but by then I wasn't recording the process. So instead of a step-by-step tutorial, today's video will focus on assembling the pieces, and I will also share the pattern I used. This time I won't scatter tiny bits of the pattern across the video for you to hunt down like birds picking up crumbs. Instead, I'll show you complete pattern of each part as we stitch them together. For this project I used fine cotton yarn in 6 colors, and there are actually 2 possible palettes depending on the reference. In the game, Sherma's body looks more orange or pink, I guess, and on the fan wiki, Sherma's outfit is shown in cooler grayish purple. I chose the purple version since that matched the yarn I had on hand, but I ran into one big problem. I barely had any bright yellow yarn for the head, so I had to unravel star motifs from another project to get enough material. Now, while I'm stitching the body together, let's dive into beetle biology, entomology. Not quite specific, not quite fact-rich, but something I hope you'll be interested in, and that's also my point of interest, one of many of them. Specifically, we will talk about how insects make sounds, because Sherma is one of the few characters of Silksong who actually sings and makes percussive noises with his little things. In real world, insects have 5 main categories of sound communication: vibration, percussion, stridulation, and click mechanisms. Also air expulsion. This is then insects push air through opening in their bodies. It's seen in cockroaches and some moths, butterflies. They use it for mate finding or as a defense mechanism. Some true bugs and heteroptera deform a special part of their cuticle with powerful muscles, producing a clicking sound for communication. It's a click mechanism. Neither of these fits Sherma very well. For one, the insects that use them look nothing like him. And the second, those sounds are short, sharp clicks, nothing like Sherma's cheerful rhythmic music. The next category is vibration. These sounds come from oscillations of the abdomen, either side to side or up and down, and sometimes also involve the wings. There are also a specific kind called tremulation. Their insects vibrate their legs and sound travels through the ground or the surface they're standing on. Many groups of insects use this to communicate silently through the substrate. But Sherma doesn't vibrate his abdomen or wings. Instead, he bangs 2 little objects together so we can rule vibration out. Percussion is also worth mentioning. This is then an insect strikes one part of his body against another or hits the ground with the tip of his abdomen. Some beetles drum like this to signal to others, but again, that doesn't match Sherma's behavior since he seems to play instruments. That brings us to the most likely category for Sherma, stridulation. This sound is produced by rubbing 2 specialized body parts against each other in repeated rhythmic way. Stridulation is best known in grasshoppers, locusts, and crickets, But ants and some beetles also do it. These are the insects that make those familiar chirping or rasping noises. Sherma's little performance in the game is clearly modeled after this, in my opinion. He's actually a tiny musician using friction-based sounds to create rhythm, and just like real insects, he might be doing it for communication, territory marking, or just to get attention. Though in this case, it's more for a charm. So, what insect would be if we wanted to connect him to the real world? On the internet, some fans have suggested Sherma is based on an aphid. Aphids are tiny, round-bodied insect with simple features, which does match Sherma's design, then can thrive in many places, just like Sherma the pilgrim wandering around Hollow Nest. But aphids don't really make sounds like Sherma does. Stronger candidate might be the water boatman, Micronecta scholzi. This is a species of aquatic bug in a family Coryxidae. It's famous because, despite being only about 2 millimeters long, it produces one of the loudest sounds in the animal kingdom relative to its size. It lives in ponds and lakes across Europe and uses stridulation to call for mates. That already feels much closer to Sherma's small, overlooked, but incredibly amusing. Then, thinking about possible analogies, I also ruled out insects. There, the head, thorax, and abdomen are very distinct and separate. Sherma's design is more rounded and continuous. That means spiders and centipedes are also excluded. Their segmented body plans don't match him at all. Among the better matches, we have true crickets, Grylidae. They have relatively large heads and striped abdomens, and their songs are very familiar to Sherma's. The only problem, crickets always have long antennae and Sherma don't, unless they're hidden under his little head. And cicadas. They use special cuticular membranes called tymbals, covered by strong muscles to make loud metallic noises. Their calls can resonate through cavities in their body and be heard from a very far away. That makes cicada a tempting candidate for Sherma too. This led me to a slightly darker theory. When I looked at the life stages of cicadas, I realized that Sherma might actually represent a nymph stage. Cicada nymphs can live underground up to 17 years for periodical cicada. That term is commonly used to refer to any of the 7 species of genus of Eastern North America. They have 13 and 17-year periods for their lives. So for periodical cicadas, nymphs can live underground for up to 17 years, feeding on plant roots before emerging to become adults. Then they finally crawl up into trees, leaving behind their exoskeletons as they transform. Now imagine, this little traveler could be a nymph who desperately wants to sing like an adult. But since he doesn't have timbals of his own yet, maybe he steals parts of another insect's wings or even beetle legs and uses them as his sticks to make sound. It's a little morbid, but it does explain why his instruments don't really resemble any natural organ. As I finish stitching the last pieces together, the body, the cloak, the head, and of course those little things, it's worth remembering that every part of Sherma reflects something from real insect life. His song, his headgear, his playful behavior, all of it is inspired by the natural world, just stylized into something adorable. Sherma is basically a little beetle musician. His song in the game might be fictional, but it's built on real insect behaviors, communication, and survival. And here he is, our finished sherma. The pattern is included in the video, so you can make your own version or even adapt it into something different. Now I want to hear from you. Which real insect do you think sherma is most like? A cricket or cicada? Or maybe that tiny but very loud water boatman? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for spending time with me today, and remember, even when we are working with fantasy characters, inspiration is always out there in the real world of nature. So, see you next time!